Hi, this is gonna be some oddness. I am halfway through moving the Lego room upstairs because this has become Josh's bedroom. So most of the shelves over there are empty. So I get that I'm gonna be talking about something that is gonna be odd to have this as my background, but I don't care. And those people who have been here before, no, I don't care. There are a bunch of stuff, a bunch of things I could talk about right now. Soap operas and the like. But what I'm going to talk about is I do spend some time on TikTok. And some of my fine Lego compatriots are on TikTok, and they're doing lives and or streaming and or whatever, and showing off their wonderful builds and the different shows. So I'm on TikTok a little bit, and I follow a lot of camping stuff and blah blah blah. For the past 2 weeks, more than a dozen. I get the algorithms will keep on showing you more of the same that you stopped and watched, which sometimes causes me to do a lot of blocking, by the way, because I will stop and try not to get my blood pressure up by something that little PP, most vacuous hack in Canadian politics, starts talking about. But the one I come across, and even one today, which is just basically a screenshot of whatever. What does with the words? What does a woman have to do? What does a woman have to do in order for her partner not to cheat on her, to step out on her? And I'm going, I get that. I wouldn't say I grew up in a sheltered life, because I'm not naive, nor sheltered, but I did grow up in my parents did get divorced, so that's part of that. But it wasn't, I'm not even going to bring my personal life into this, except to say, nothing, there's nothing a woman has to do in order for me to not cheat on her. I'm not going to cheat on her, period. Full stop. The end. She can do nothing, and she has to do nothing. She has to provide nothing in order for me not to step out on her. Nothing. So I'm coming at this as an adult, which is, again, where the dichotomy background comes in. I'm coming at this as an adult. The people who cheat, straight up, anybody, nobody has come yet with an explanation or a justification for cheating on somebody at all. Nobody has come up with a justification that's not childish, that is not taking care of my own personal needs to the detriment of somebody else, to justify that. None. Now, I'm going to be very clear about this. I've been in relationships. I've been in a few. I've been one for 20 plus years now. Very happy with that. In my dating relationships before I met Sandy, in my dating relationships, when I start dating somebody, and this is how, again, nobody else has to handle it this way, but the second I start thinking I want to date this person, everybody else is off the market. First of all, that's just how I work. I can't handle more than, but beyond that, for my own personal moral integrity, I cannot think of, ooh, I'd like to be with that person over there, whilst I'm with somebody else. And again, I put that benchmark at the beginning of the relationship, after the first date. Hey, do you want to go for a date? Yeah, and then we're on a date. And even if it's like we're not going to get married or whatever, but the second I'm dating somebody, nobody else is going to be on my radar to also date, or maybe that person's better over there. I'm in this relationship here. I'm in this one with a person. Now, again, I'm not going to go into polygamy and whatever. If the couple is okay with it, if it's a known thing, then it's not stepping out on somebody. If it's a known thing that you're with this person and this person doesn't have any problem with you being with that person over there, that's none of my business. It's literally none of my business. But if you're doing it behind somebody's back, this is the cheating part. Cheating is, I want to be very clear about this, cheating on a partner is when you are stepping out on your partner, even after the first or second date, and you're committed to that relationship without their knowledge, without their appreciation of. There's some people that have open relationships, and again, this is not that. I personally, I don't think I could ever be in an open relationship, but that's just me. That's just who I know. But I know people who are. I have a few friends that are polygamous, and they're perfectly happy with the lifestyle. Both, or and have at it. like if it works for you, whatever floats your boat. This is my whole point. If whatever, knock yourself out. But cheating is specifically, you're with person A and you look at person B and you want to be with person B, and so you start stepping out on person B without the knowledge of person A. And should person A find out, and this is the important thing, if should person A, it will be a negative, detrimental to that person, her or his well-being, mindset, or whatever. Because again, it's the other way too. What can a man offer a woman so she doesn't cheat on? So this isn't. I'm not trying to be sexist. This is for a couple. And even if it's two males or two females, it doesn't matter. The actual question was, what could a woman offer her man to not step out on her, not cheat on her? What can partner A offer to partner B for that partner B not to step out on him, to cheat on him? And for me, this is such a childish thing to do, because you have your desires for somebody else while you're with somebody. And even if it's just a slightly committed relationship, like you're dating, to you're married, like, and I'll get to the other nuances in a second. The second you decide that you are going to step out on them, you have a problem. You have a problem. Now, again, looking at somebody, again, I'm not going to get into the biblical lustful thoughts, whatever. Like, I can watch Baywatch and whatever. Ooh, she's cute. That's not stepping out. That's not cheating. Some people make that line their cheating part. The second that you think of a character or an actress or a Miss 1999, which is very important. With lustful thoughts, then that is cheating. Now, I don't do that. I don't draw the line there, even though I was in church for a million years. I do not draw the line there. We always have that expression, doesn't matter where you get your appetite, as long as you eat at home. Take it as you want. But to get back to the whole thing, there's nothing Sandy, or it's nothing anybody that I'm committed to can or should offer me in order to make me not step out on her. Because the second I'm thinking about stepping on her, that's if you're not getting, and again, there's nuance here. I want to be very clear about this. There's nuance and overarching stuff. If you're not getting what you need from your relationship, then don't be in that relationship. If you have to step out to find what you need, and again, some people say, what I want is the idea of cheating. That makes it so much, that heightens the sexuality. Don't care. I don't care. It's the fallout of that is insurmountable to whatever gratification you might get from that cheating. It's just, this is not for a young audience. It's just getting your rocks off. I won't tell you what my old mechanic used to tell me, because mechanics have a little crude sense of whatever. But the satiation of lust, and again, I'm not going to get biblical on this because I think that's really irrelevant to relationships. From my point of view, the satiation of basic lust over and above the appreciation for reducing harm of others is pathetic, and it's childish. It's like the kid who wants ice cream, and when the parents close the freezer door and they go out for an evening, and the kid runs into the freezer and eats all the ice cream because that they have to satiate their need. It's childish. And again, I'm not going to fault the kid for doing that, even though there should be some sort of whatever consequence for that, because the parent said no, and they did it anyway. But that's between the parent and the kid. But that's what you are doing. You are acting like a childish, immature, unhealthy person in that relationship. So my point is, because again, this thing always infuriated me, is that if you're in a relationship, and I've been in as I said, I've dated before. I was engaged, pseudo engaged, before I met Sandy to somebody else, and there was literally no point in that entire relationship where my ex-fiance, there was literally no point in that entire relationship where I said, I like that person over there better, therefore I'm going to step out on this person. At all. The reason why my ex-fiance became my ex-fiance was nothing she did, or who she is, or what she didn't offer me. We were incompatible. That's it. That's literally the entire thing. And therefore, I manned up. I put my big boy pants on, and we broke up. We broke up, and at that breakup, if we go into some details here, I said, I'm not going to date anybody for a long time. I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go over to this person a week later. So, no, there was no opportunist idea for me to break up with my ex-fiance to say, oh, I don't want to be with you anymore because I want to be over here with that person more. That wasn't that had no factor. I bought this house after I broke up with my fiance, and I said, I'm going to be single. I'm going to play Lego, and I'm going to hang out with my friends, whatever, because it was hard. It was hard on her. I knew how hard it was on her. I knew it was hard on me, but we were, again, not to bring biblical stuff back into it, we were incompatibly yoked. Like my parents, who I adore, both of them, to the moon and the back. I adore my parents, but my ex-fiance, I appreciated who she was and where she was going with her life. But I wasn't the person to walk along with that life journey with her. I wasn't. I absolutely was not. I was not the person, who I was incompatible. And as we went along with that relationship, I kept on noticing more and more incompatibility between the direction I wanted to go in my life. And I think it's compromise, forget all that stuff right now. I wanted to go this way and she wanted to go that way. Like, it was completely the opposite. And I didn't want to bring her down, and I know she didn't want to bring me down. I know she didn't want to make me less than the person that I am, and I didn't want to make her the less person than she is. And she's having a perfectly beautiful life with her husband and her kids and whatever. It was the right thing to do. Man up. Break up. If you the second you start thinking I want to be with somebody else, then there's something wrong, and you don't step out. You man up. You talk to the person that your chosen person. You chose to be in that relationship. Unless it's an arranged marriage, there is no earthly justification to step out on anybody ever. You break up, or you have a discussion as to what you're finding it lacking in your relationship. Because again, if it is just the lust, and you love it because like you're having it's more exciting, that's garbage. It's an absolute garbage argument, because again, in the end, even if your spouse never found, your partner never ever finds out that you cheated on them, it's wrong. It's detrimental to a relationship. It's absolutely detrimental to a relationship. And not even forget the relationship. It's a detriment to the actual person. That's the critical part. I don't care if you hate the person at the end. I've seen breakups where the people can't stand one another at the end of the relationship, because they fell in love and they either got married or whatever, and then 5, 10, 15 years later, a big explosion, and you break up. And yes, it's a severe breakup and usually an ugly divorce and blah blah blah, but the root cause of that shouldn't be because you're looking for another person. You've already got your eyes set on another. If you're actually to the point where you actually got your eyes on another person, then get out. Get out. If you don't want to be in this relationship, then get out of it. Be the adult. It drives me nuts. And I'm going through there, and I'm looking at the excuses that people give as to why they cheat. Oh, she wasn't fulfilling my needs. Then you're not in a wrong relationship. You're absolutely in the wrong relationship. Oh, I felt like I felt like a nobody. I was insecure. But then, I mean, there could be problems with your spouse that makes you feel inferior or whatever, diminutive. I always have a tough time pronouncing that word. Less than who you are. Then that's also another reason to get out. But oh, it's going to be too difficult for me to get out because of X, Y, and Z. Whatever excuse you want to give, whatever excuse you want to give to get out of that relationship because you're unhappy with that relationship, then man up and get out. Financially, yes, okay, there's always financial issues. People make it. My lifestyle is, but then I want to cheat too. Then you're a child. You're an absolute child. And it just, I just can't stand when I read these threads when people say somebody has to kowtow to my wants and desires in order for me to stay with them. Somebody has to sublimate themselves in order to be with me, and that's the only way I'm going to be happy. Well, then be by yourself. If somebody else has to diminish themselves in order to be with you, again, this is not compromise. This is not working together for an end goal. This has nothing to do with compromise. This is sublimating your own self in order to be with somebody else, and so they won't cheat on you. That's wrong. If you have to change who you are fundamentally, because again, there's characters. You have character traits, and everybody has character flaws. I'll be the first to say I have huge and Sandy puts over them. I have massively huge character flaws. And so you have to sit down and you have to say, oh yeah, this part of a relationship is not making me happy. You have to own up. You have to step in. You have to put the effort into it. And if you don't want to put the effort into this relationship, then don't be in this relationship. Period. Full stop. No, I cannot think of a single time when, if you're in a relationship with another person, and the personal, spousal or dating or whatever, and you get to the point where you're not getting your needs fulfilled with that person, and you want to step out with this other person. You meet him at work, you meet at your ball game or whatever, and you start having this little flirty, we'll talk about that, but flirty nature, and all of a sudden let's go whatever, rent a hotel room for a couple hours, because then it's exciting. No, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you're a child. You're literally a child. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care how unfamous you are. I don't care what justification you have in your head to step out of that relationship with somebody else. It's childish, it's immature, and you have to be an adult and face it like an adult. I have a million adult decisions that I hide from every day. But that's never ever going to be one that I'm going to avoid. I didn't avoid it last time. It took a while for me to get there. I will say that, because I was trying to figure out in my head how this is going to work, and I wanted, again, in my head, I thought I should be in this relationship, and I should put all the effort. And I again, for myself, from my point of view, I certainly gave it all my. But there was not one point in that entire relationship where I said, I want to be with somebody else, therefore I'm going to step out on this person and go be with that person for a night or two, or sporadically, and hide it from her, because that's childish. That's absolutely childish. And it's sad that we're in the 21st century, and that we are talking about how to, with all the crap going on in the world, with all the stuff, all the big, huge problems that we are facing as a society right now, that woman has to get onto TikTok and ask, what can she do in order to make her husband not cheat on her? I'm going, are you kidding me? Again, I not to use this as a textbook example. I'll use this as a textbook example. We lived next to the most deplorable people on the planet. Like literally in my personal life, the most deplorable, outrageously, I don't even know, there's a word that can encompass how bad these people were. And Sandy and I used to talk all the time, like, why doesn't he leave her? Like, honest to God, because we knew she was stepping out on him. She made it blatantly clear she was stepping out on him. It was like, are you kidding me? And yet he kept, and he knew she was stepping out on him, and he kept on staying there. Again, again, money, whatever, I don't know. Kids, that, whatever excuse you have. I even told him once, like, there was nothing he could do to redeem to make her happy. Like, there was 8 years of it. There is nothing. There's nothing anybody could have done to make her happy. Her whole personality, her whole entire being was evolved, or situationally, the way she was brought up, was to attack everybody else and to make everybody else feel inferior. She was the queen of Karens. She was the whatever. She had no redeeming characteristics at all. And he stuck with her, and I'm going, no. and again, I dated every person I ever dated were nice, decent people. And what happened was that we got to a point where either both of us said, I'm going in, and they want to go in this, and then we called it off, or one of us said, this has to stop now, because I don't want you to whatever. And it's the adult discussion to have, to say, this isn't working for me. I'm fixing the house now. This room is moving upstairs, and I'm moving Josh, because what we're doing now isn't working for us. Josh is in a little room upstairs, and this is a big room that we made it. We designed it as a bedroom for him, and now he's 16, and so therefore this is what we're doing now. It was an adult discussion. And whatever else we're doing, it's an adult discussion to come out with the best possible solution. And none of that in a relationship, in a family, in a situation, none of that has anything to do with anybody outside of that. Nothing. And I think there was a few other points I wanted to get across here, but in my head, nobody's ever justified stepping out. Logically, emotionally, intellectually, spiritually, there's been absolutely never once any justification ever presented for somebody to step out and somebody else. If you don't want to be with that person, then don't be with that person, and then you can be with the other person. And I know that all of a sudden the thrill's gone, and all of a sudden that relationship doesn't look good. But again, that's not my problem. Again, that's a childish thing to do. If you want to end a relationship, to be with somebody else, the grass isn't always greener. So you have to make this with sober second thought, sober adult thought, responsibilities, and blah blah blah. Like, I just shake. Honest to goodness, I just shake my head at it. I said this to Sandy, that Shania Twain could knock on our front door. with the Lego Titanic one hand and $1 million in another hand. I am not ever cheating on my wife. Literally, I am never, ever. There's not enough money on this planet to make me want to cheat on my wife. At all. I mean, there is an old movie that, since Robert Redford just passed away, there's clips of it. For crying out loud, it's just in my head. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, I hate my life. I hate my head. I was just Indecent Proposal. I remember seeing it. Woody Harrelson, Demi Moore, and it's Demi, not Demi, and Robert Redford. I remember seeing it in the theater. It was an interesting. They could have been. I haven't seen it since then. I saw it in the theater once. I've never seen it again. So I remember being. It's an interesting movie. It's an interesting concept. It's interesting, whatever. But that's again, it's completely different than what I'm talking about, because he approached both of them and says, "I will pay you $1 million if I can have your wife for a night." So it's a different scenario. And I would say no. But again, it's going to be up to my wife, because she's an adult and she can make her own decisions. I am not. It's a relationship. My relationship with my wife is very, very, makes me exceedingly happy, because again, this is the anti-biblical crap. The biblical crap that I could not stand. The wife must be beholden to her husband. That's absolute shit. Sorry for the French. There is the male is the head of the household. That's absolute garbage. We are a team. We are partners. My wife and I are partners through and through. There is no hierarchy in this house for me and Sandy. There's no hierarchy. We are a team, 100% a team. And if one of us is feeling a little bit whatever, then we sit down and we talk about it, because that's what adults do as a team, as a couple. We are a couple. We are not this way. We are this way. And that's the only way I ever would want it. I wouldn't want a patriarchy in this house, and I wouldn't want a matriarchy in this house. I wouldn't want it. We are equal on everything. And if she starts feeling whatever, and we have a discussion about it. And if I start feeling whatever, we have a discussion about it. And so far, 21 years, we've never had a freaking argument. Because of literally the respect given to one another. And who knows? I mean, people change, life changes, whatever. And if 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, that's for me, I don't think it's ever going to happen, because I've known her for 20 plus years. And she's literally adorable, the most adorable person I've ever met. But if we drift apart and we have a discussion about it, and neither of us want to work on it, then it's over. But I don't see that happening. But it's going to be a discussion. It's going to be a known quantity to both of us. It's going to be known. It's going to be to the point where I'm not happy, and here's a quote: "I'm not happy in this relationship anymore." I've never said that, thankfully. Fingers crossed it never happens. But if it comes to that, then it's going to be a discussion. Because literally, I'm never going to be walking on the street and say, oh, geez, I wonder what my life is going to be like with that other person. I think I should step out behind Sandy's back and be with that other person for a little bit, see if I like it. Are you kidding? Relationships aren't test drives. And again, a test drive is known to both couples, both people in the relationship. Like anyway, I can't keep on. I have such a tough time with this one, because we are supposed to be the 60s and the flower power and the 70s with whatever that was, in the 80s and whatever. We are in the 21st century where everybody has really, literally, I will say, there's a huge, vast chasm of difference between the 70s and the 2020s. Where like literally, I was at a football game today, and literally kids in high school are talking about stuff that I wouldn't have dreamed about talking about when I was in high school, back when I was in high school. There is so much more known. There is so much more easy to discuss any kind of topic at all. Like literally the whole world has, as far as my world is concerned, there are no conversations that are off limits now. You can talk about anything with people now that you could not. The 70s was very hush-hush. Not a related tangent, but I remember in the 70s, us kids knew of other kids in our class that were being sexually abused by somebody in their house. We knew that at 10 and 12. We knew that. But you didn't talk about it. You did not talk about it. The parents did not either know, or was, as what happens behind that closed doors of that house stays in that house. In the 70s. In the 70s, we knew stuff was going on. Now again, me oblivious and naive. I'm sure there's a lot more going on in the 70s that I was completely oblivious to. But I know some of my classmates were abused. I know of that because it does come out as 12-year-olds. So, but we couldn't do, as kids, we could not do a damn thing about it. In the 70s, you couldn't, because the parents are, oh no, that family problem is not this problem. If my mom and dad knew, I never got around to telling my mom this, because you don't talk about that stuff. You don't talk about that stuff. So if my mom and dad knew, I would hope, I believe they would have done something about it, but I never told them. Because you didn't talk about it. It wasn't encouraged to be talked about. And that changed radically in my lifetime, radically. Kids now have all the power in the world to discuss this stuff, and sometimes I won't even go into it, but the ability to discuss things openly in the world now, I think it's almost to the extreme where every little feeling is blown way out of proportion. Oh, I was neglected because I didn't get an ice cream cone, right? Which never would have happened in the 70s. Somebody said, I was again another TikTok that I can't remember the exact phrasing, but it says, today's kids, oh, you're crying. What can I do to stop you from crying? Whereas when I was a kid, oh, you're crying. Oh, I'll give you something to cry about. so this, not that my parents ever said that to me, because again, my parents were awesome. I will keep on coming back to that to the day I die. My parents were awesome. I was pretty much blessed in the parents lottery for growing up as I did. And so I never had a problem with stuff in the 70s growing up. I did not have a problem. My parents, I knew, were always there for me, and they'd always be there for me, and they still are there for me. My mom passed away a bunch of years ago, but she was always there for me when she was alive, even though angst and whatever, because parents and kids. But I never felt once in my entire life that I was neglected by my parents or ignored or whatever. My parents are my role models. I have lots of role models, but my parents are a big part of that. I'm 58 years old and I've got here. And one of my things, because even though they got divorced when I was like 16 or 17, I can't remember the exact time. It was like block. But again, I want to make this perfectly clear as an example. This is society that I lived in. The community I lived in stood up and told me and the rest of the community how great my parents were because they won together the Citizenship of the Year award together in 1983. They won it. The whole society came together and says, your parents are deserving of this award. And I saw it because I lived in the house, how great my parents were. And then they were divorced. So again, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you come to the table with. It doesn't matter what you should bring to the table. You should bring who you are to the table. So let's talk about that really quick. You should bring who you are. You shouldn't hide things. Sandy knew, we met at a freaking Lego show, Sandy, so she knew my love for Legos right off the first date. The first meeting, she knew I had my love for Lego. Was she impressed when she came to the house the first time? Yeah, I don't know. And saw the basement full of Lego? I don't know. I was already living here for a year and a half, and the basement was just full of Lego. I don't want to say she humors me. She is an avid supporter of my hobby for me because she loves me. I think that's great. But I also don't want her to feel like she's being used or she has to love the hobby or go to the shows or whatever else. But she loves the people that I love. The people that introduced me and Sandy are also Lego people. And so like she likes the hobby. She's not a fan like I am, but she has her interests, and I support her with her interests. So you can be, and I want to say this: you can be a really awesome person. You can absolutely be a really awesome person that other people admire and appreciate and whatever want to hang around, and you can be with a spouse or a significant other that's a really awesome person that people admire and want to be around and hang around with. And yet you two can be completely incompatible. And maybe you don't know that until you start being with each other. Maybe you don't know. Maybe at the beginning it seemed like it was going to go great. Again, I come at this by being in a off and on 11-year relationship with my ex-fiance, who is a perfectly beautiful, wonderful person. Where's what she's doing over there? And this is kind of my pithy way of saying it, but it's like, I'm happy she's happy over there. I'm perfectly happy that she's happy over there. I wouldn't want her not to be happy over there, as long as it's not with me, because us together was not good after a while. It wouldn't have been good. I don't think so. And again, this is me. And again, did I unilaterally make that decision? Yes. So that was 100% on me. I made that decision to end it. Shock to her. But I made that decision. Should I have made that for both of us? If somebody doesn't want to be in a relationship, then the person has to make that decision to not be in that relationship. And the other person hopefully eventually comes to accept that decision, because what else are you going to do? I don't want to be in a relationship that I don't want to be in, and I don't want the other person to be in a relationship that I don't want to be in. so, and again, it had nothing to do with anybody else, because that's childish again. It's absolutely childish. But the adult thing to do at the time, I mean, I do honestly believe, is this the old logo? That's not. That was old logo. At the time, we put some effort into it, some talking about it and blah blah. So we did, work at it for a little bit. But I didn't see in the end, looking at the end game, where she wanted her life to be over there, doing what she was doing, and I was not at all remotely comfortable being with her in that relationship over there with what she's doing with her life. I wasn't. And therefore I ended it. And it was, I don't want to use these terms loosely, but it was literally the hardest thing I ever did that I can think of right now. If I actually sat down and look at my life, about the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make, because again, my life's been very, very blessed. So I didn't have to make hard decisions a lot, because life's always been good to me. And even that relationship was good. And I will say, I never regretted my time in that relationship. You know what would have made me regret that time in that relationship? Is that if I stepped out on her. That I would have killed me. That honestly, honest to goodness, that would have killed me. I would have ended my sense of self, my sense of well-being for myself, if I stepped out on her. I would have, like, oh my goodness, like I don't want to say this lightly, I don't think I would have been able to live with myself. And not because of who she was or who she is. For who I am, that's who I am. I don't want to hurt people, period. I don't want to hurt them. And so when you get to a situation where you have to mitigate the hurt and reduce or take the least hurt method possible, the adult thing to do is to assess that. You look at a situation, you walk into a situation, whatever it is. So what's the best possible outcome, even if it's a bad outcome for like at that time, you have to deal with it. Stepping out adds a huge layer of overhead of harm and ugliness and whatever else to the relationship. It adds it to it. You're exponentially increasing the ugliness of that relationship. Even if you want it to end, the relationships, almost every relationship ends at some point. But I don't want mine to be exacerbatedly ugly at the end. So my sense of self, my sense of appreciation of to do the least harm, my sense of appreciation to do the right thing as much as I possibly can, my appreciation of other people, even if I don't appreciate them. I will say this again, not to go off on this quick tangent again, but again, the neighbors, this whole thing is going to be all about neighbors. The neighbors were so fugly the way they were treating us and everybody else in the world. Just the most vile, useless, vile people you've ever met. And yet, I never once, not once in that entire 8 long, painful, pathetic years, not once did I ever, did I remember, ever lash out back at them. First of all, it wouldn't have helped. Absolutely would not have helped. There's that again, I love old sayings. Do not lower yourself to the level of pigs, because you'll just get muddy and crap will be thrown at you, and that's their home turf. They'll walk all over you. So I was not going to get down and dirty with them at all. They can be as dirty and vile and disgusting and piggish They were pigs. It's documented. They were absolute pigs. They can be the most vile creatures on the planet. I will not lower myself. I will not lower my sense of integrity, my sense of appreciation of who I am, to go down to their level. I ain't going to do it. I'm not going to stoop to their level. And I didn't. We didn't. We had huge talks about it. It's not like we hid from it. We had huge talks about it. Absolutely had huge talks about it. But we're not going to lower ourselves to their level. We're not going to do it. And in the end, they gone because of how we approached this. And I keep on mentioning that. They would still be here if we didn't do it this way. They would still be here. Oh, they probably would have been bankrupt by now. But anyway, I will not lower myself to even people who deserve harm, absolutely deserve harm. I did not harm them. I did not harm them. I took and again, kicking them out of here, oh, that's harm. No, it's not. Absolutely not. They didn't want to be here. They clearly did not want to be here. It's just the way they were acting. If you wanted to be here, you would act like you wanted to be here. So you have to take that into some nuance. If you want to be in a relationship, then you work on it. If you think you're not getting what you want from that relationship, then you have to work on it. It's called being an adult. Being in I was single for a long time, and I had no problem being single. I think this is my little thing I keep on telling Josh right now. I think, hey kid, move on your own whenever you want. We're not kicking him out of the house, but when you live on your own for a bit, figure out who you are when you're by yourself. I learned a long time ago. Again, this came from church a long time ago too, but and it's one of the things that actually stuck with me. Well, many things stuck with me, but this is one that I really appreciated because it really had nothing to do with biblical crap. And I tried to explain this to Josh, and I should think about it and write it down. But because it does make sense, but it gets jumbled up in my head. That there are basically three yous in a context. There's you when you're in a group of people, and you can be flamboyant and whatever, or chatty Cathy, whatever, the center of attention, or the wallflower, or whatever you think you are. There's you when you're in a relationship with somebody that's very, very important to you, your parents, your sisters, your friends, your spouse, your better half, and who you are when you're alone. And I think the who you are when you're alone is the most important one. Because again, there's a episode called Masks in Star Trek, and then people talk about this all the time. When you go out in public, you're putting on a mask and blah, blah. I'm not going to go into the psychology about that. I remember that from Psych 101 years ago. Forget the mask part. When you're by yourself, you don't have to impress anybody else. You don't even have to impress yourself. Who you are when you're alone, I think, is the most important thing. And if you're not happy with yourself when you're by yourself, I don't know, because I've always been, seriously, even with my many faults that I, will pop in my head, I've been very, very happy with who I am when I'm on my own, because I'm usually down here or watching Star Trek, whatever. I find all the joy I want to find in my life. This isn't arrogance or self-centered. I love me. I even with my flaws, and I try to work on the flaws, and I want to know my flaws. I appreciate who I am when I'm alone, and I appreciate again, I can in my head I already have a list of missteps, shall we say, of my life walk that I've had with other people, because I don't know, because it happens all the time. I don't know why, but I said and or did very, very harmful stuff, said some harmful words, or did harmful actions to other people who I also loved, and I regret that. I have regrets. I think I made a video a while back that I don't have any regrets. I actually have, in that context, I have some regrets, because I hurt people with my words and my actions, and I've tried to make amends. But overall, knowing that I want to do this, that's fine. I realized that I can't be that bad, and I'm worth working on, for me to work on. And Sandy thinks I'm worth working on, and she likes working on me. So we like improving each other. And so therefore, But if there comes a day, and I don't think, again, as I said, it'll ever happen, but if there comes a day when we are not getting the edification we need out of this relationship, then this relationship ends before anything else. But I don't think there's going to be a time when we're not going to want to work on it. I don't think. She's home now, so I'm going to wrap this up. 44 minutes. I will talk to you guys soon.